If you need
Mhm.
people to text you and support you every single day, ask for that. I think that's another thing. I've never been great at asking for help. I have
Right.
learned to ask for help,
Yeah.
and that all of that fuels. And I think remembering your why is like
Mhm.
fuel, no matter what happens. And yeah, my son, it's so amazing how wise children can be. But
Yeah.
as I've been starting this journey, as I've been speaking more vulnerably, he said, Mom, but what if it just helps one person?
Oh,
An
wow.
8-year-old said this.
Wow. Wow.
And I literally every single day, I remember that every single day because
Absolutely.
that's all why we're here, all of us.
Exactly.
If you are
Right.
helping one person, that is enough.
Welcome to And Then I Did This. Prepare to be inspired as we celebrate the unique journeys of individuals who've had the courage to break free and live life on their own terms. Their lives prove that you truly can be free to live your best and most authentic life. Let's get to it. Welcome to the show. Today I have a special guest, Sipra Halteman. She's the founder of Shift Society, a modern day village supporting people through life transitions. She's a first generation Indian American working mom, and she's a growth leader with 16 years of experience in Silicon Valley, and we've crossed paths in a couple different places. She weaves resilience, courage, and community into everything she builds. So I'm just so happy to have you on the show. Welcome, Shipra.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here and reconnect and yeah, see how our paths have intertwined all these years.
Yeah, so good, so good. Share a little bit about your journey. You're fairly new into this, so this is so exciting to have you share for people who are out there wishing, wanting to do something, some who are already doing something, but share your journey, how you
Ah,
got here.
yes. I think it's something, I'm a little bit of a dreamer. I've dreamt most of my life about all sorts of things, and I've made a lot of them happen and some of them not happen. And I think that's been a huge part of my journey is never like forgetting to first to dream and think about what possibilities might be. And it's taken me years to achieve a lot of my dreams. And I think part of my journey has just been believing and consistently showing up every single day to first name that dream and then figure out how can I achieve that dream. I've thought about like for years, and especially just as I've gone through some normal life transitions, just becoming a mom, moving to new cities, starting new jobs, different chapters in life where you don't always have a guidebook or a playbook. I've always
Mhm.
wanted that, or I've always sought that out, and I've been able to find it in my own ways because I'm
Right.
like a relationship builder, and that's really important to me. But I've also always had this idea of where is the village that we used to have, and
Mhm.
why does it feel so hard, especially in an age where we are so connected digitally, but we're
Right.
less connected like relationally than
Mhm.
ever. And so that's just been something I've really felt like deeply. And I've
Mhm.
curated on my own, just like through my neighborhood, through my work relationships, through my mother's groups and circles, and all of these things that I've been fortunate to
Mhm.
have. But I know that not everybody has that and
Right.
that ability. And I think that sometimes even connecting with strangers or people that have gone through similar
Right.
life challenges can be more
Mhm.
supportive because you learn from their experience and their stories. And that's like the original idea of this village is that you learn from your elders, you learn from your peers, you learn
Mhm.
from people, and that none of us go through this life or our journeys alone. So
Right.
that's been my inspiration all these
Mhm.
years. And how I got here is working really hard and a lot of not just working like externally. I definitely have worked very hard to make money and build financial freedom, but also a lot of inner work and a lot of facing my own fears, a lot of both just fears. For example, one of my fears is public speaking and showing
Mhm.
up. And I think even putting myself out here in this way is my way. I've done this my whole life. I put myself in situations that are hard because every time I do it, I know that the next time feels easier and it makes me
Mhm.
better. Yeah, an example I always give is I have a huge fear of heights, and
Mhm.
I hiked Half Dome in California, which is like a
Mhm.
very intense hike or climbing without being connected to anything, and it's pretty scary.
Wow.
And it was terrifying. I'll never do it again. But it shows us that when you put yourself in some of these
Right.
situations, it shows you that you can be strong and you can do
Exactly.
hard things. And I have been doing that my entire life. And I think that's where my resilience and my strength comes
Right.
from, having had to do hard things and then learning and putting myself in the situations where I'm uncomfortable to grow. And yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the kind of work you've done, and even some of the places that you've worked and the places you went to school and where you've lived would be really interesting for people because many people, as which where I grew up in rural
Hmm.
Minnesota, a lot of people don't leave. They just stay in their little area, their community, and they don't venture out. So share your background and some of your journey and where you've been, what you've done, because that's so interesting, I think.
Yeah. So it's funny. I grew up in the Midwest too, in St. Louis, Missouri, where, as you mentioned, not everybody leaves. And I know there's so many different drivers for what drives all of us to leave. But I remember at 10 years old,
Oh,
and I found this paper recently, but I wrote,
oh,
it was a prompt from a school exercise, and it asked, like, what do you see yourself doing in 10 years or something like that? And I even wrote at that age, at 10 years old, that I was going to live in California
oh,
and that I was going to get married one day. And I do specifically remember that I was going to live in California. I moved to California at 21, 11
wow.
years after I wrote that note. And I didn't even, it's like I didn't even really realize, like, all these years I wasn't actively, as a 10-year-old, I'm not actively
Yeah.
planning my move to California. But I made it happen. I thought about, what it's a dream. I'm a dreamer and I never let go of that dream. And I had a lot of help along the way. I had a lot of
Mhm.
my uncles and aunts lived in California. And so I
Mm.
moved and I lived with them at 21 years old.
Mm.
And within a month or two, I had a job. I'm an introvert, but I'm really good at networking and
Mhm.
relationship building.
Mhm.
And I just went out there, I messaged all the people I knew, and I landed a job at iCrossing, a digital marketing agency in San Francisco. And it's where I met so many, got connected to this world of marketing and ad agencies, and yeah, and got exposure to the tech scene in San
Mm.
Francisco. So that's how I ended up in California and
Mm.
achieved that dream of
Mhm.
living there. And then, yeah, spent a few years working in agencies. It's where I met you and so
Mhm.
many other amazing people and built the skills of digital marketing,
Right.
learning how to make companies grow, drive revenue for companies, primarily, yeah, digital marketing, growth marketing. And then I was recruited by Twitter, which, it's funny, for years I had kept applying to all the big tech companies. Even when I was living in St. Louis, I was applying to
Wow.
Google, Facebook, I think even, yeah, Twitter, all the big tech. And I don't know, I just kept trying. And then out of nowhere, it came to me. The recruiter came to
Wow.
me. I don't know. And I'm not somehow, it's funny, like I dream and somehow maybe these things,
Right.
because I'm dreaming, they're happening for me
Mhm.
and I'm never letting go of that vision. I
Absolutely.
think that is also part of it. It's like
Absolutely.
never letting it go. Yeah. And then I ended up working there for almost 4 years. It was, yeah, one of the best
Mm.
experiences of my life during a really exciting time in
Mm.
Silicon Valley. There was a lot of money, a lot of growth, a lot of excitement.
Right.
And Twitter was in a really exciting time,
Mm.
just a lot of celebrities and a lot of movements and things
Mm.
starting on the platform and under Jack Dorsey's leadership and while he was leading Square at the same time. So it was just a
Wow.
really
Yeah.
interesting and
Mm.
valuable experience. But yeah, that kind of that led me to that California journey. And I forgot to mention before that, I always had this dream of living abroad,
Mhm.
and I was scared for a
Mm.
very long time to do that. I did end up living, again, I had friends. The key theme for me and why I talk about community and relationships is I made a lot of dreams happen, but never did them alone. I always
Right.
had people helping me.
Absolutely.
And so I moved to Shanghai. I worked for an accounting firm there. I actually studied accounting and Spanish in undergrad. I ended up working for a British accounting firm there. I couldn't do the accounting work because it was all in Mandarin. And so
Right.
that's how I ended up getting into marketing because
So
I
interesting.
couldn't do the accounting work in that language. And so I
Right.
ended up working with a lot of just foreign companies that were trying to grow businesses in China.
Mhm.
So that was like my
Wow.
first, that's how I made that first abroad dream happen. And then I always dreamt of living in Spain. That was my ultimate dream. I loved Spanish. I had a minor
Mm.
in Spanish in college. I loved the language.
Yeah.
I could read really long books in Spanish, but I couldn't converse.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
And I applied to a master's program in Spain, master's in marketing, a top business school there in Europe. And I did, yeah, I went and did that. That really improved my language skills. I ended up interviewing in both Spanish and English.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was terrified out of my mind. I walked into a room once, it was a group interview at Price Waterhouse in Madrid. All the other people were speaking Spanish or native Spanish speakers except for me. And I almost walked out of the room
Yeah.
because I was so scared. And as an introvert, and especially in another language, I was like, there's no way I can do an accounting group interview in Spanish in another language. But somehow I did it.
Right.
And I didn't end up getting that job, but it built my confidence
Right.
again. And
Yeah.
later I did end up getting job offers in fully in Spanish. But it's just the theme here is that I never say no to a challenge.
Right.
I never give up, even when I really want to. Every single time, like I wanted to walk out of the room, I
Mhm.
wanted to not climb half dome. I wanted to not, it's every single time it is scary. Every single time it is hard. And every single time I still say yes to myself. And that,
So great.
I don't know I think about where did that come from? And some of that came through, I talk about this openly on LinkedIn only recently because
Mm.
it was really hard for me to talk about vulnerability and
Mm-hmm.
show up vulnerably on a professional platform where I have
Right.
built so many relationships on my accomplishments, my titles, my ability to drive growth and revenue for businesses. And I said, I don't know, I felt like I've been hiding stuff my entire life, but that
Mm.
stuff is what grew my resilience and helped me
Right.
achieve all the dreams and things that I'm still doing is that, I had to take care of myself at a really young age. There wasn't
Mm.
an option. My mother was really unwell and not able to care for us consistently. And I had a sister 8 years younger than me. At 8 years old, I really had to step up and take responsibility for
Mm.
herself, for myself, my sister, and
Mm.
my mother when she wasn't able to.
Mm.
So I, as hard as that was, I attribute a lot of my resilience to
Right.
that. Sometimes it's not an option, and it
Right.
wasn't an option for me, and that carries with me today. Sometimes just
Right.
you just start and you just have to try and you just have to go
Yeah.
look for help because
Yeah.
that's just how it is. Like it is an
Yes.
option to say no sometimes. And sometimes
Makes
it
so
is.
much, yeah,
Yeah.
makes so much
Yeah.
sense though. Like the whole journey around community and support and being there for others and your resilience and all of every mosaic, every paint on your canvas is creating that art piece that is your life and you're still painting and
Yeah.
it's so great. I have to comment just briefly, I cannot believe I also worked at iCrossing and was recruited when I had my own business actually. Yeah, and I wound up stepping out again, but yeah, when Jeff Herzog was, it was before they were acquired. So
Oh, wow.
we've had so
Yeah.
many. Yeah, that was in Arizona, in Scottsdale.
Okay.
Yeah, where
Oh,
the
I went to
headquarters was.
Arizona for my training. Yes. It's amazing.
we oh so yeah, so it's such great points and just the resilience and saying yes to yourself everything that comes along with that, because it's so easy and we doubt ourselves and don't realize how strong we really are until we
Mhm.
take that first brave step. And
Mhm.
then, okay, we made it. And we don't realize we're not ever alone. The universe, God, source,
Yes,
whatever someone's belief system is, they're already always there helping us along our path.
exactly.
We're never
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, so what would you attribute to you being brave enough to step out of your last corporate role into something for yourself that you feel you're meant to do?
There's a couple things that I had a very big wake up call about 5 to 6 years ago. And that began this journey of inner work. But I had a life-threatening miscarriage
Oh, wow.
and I lost an 11-week pregnancy. But not only did I lose the pregnancy, I had lost so much blood so
Oh,
quickly that my husband asked me to record a video for my son
oh my gosh.
saying, basically, thinking
Nice.
that's the end. And I had
Wow.
an emergency blood transfusion, and that saved my life.
Wow.
And that, again, like I don't tell this story. I just
Right.
shared it today on LinkedIn,
Right.
actually. And it is a part of my healing journey and a part of my story and resilience. Had I not been through everything else that I had been through, it broke me, but also I came out of it. And also, I saw it for the first time in my life. I saw a different kind of help that I hadn't.
Wow.
I had a life coach, I had a somatic body and trauma work coach, and both of those things pulled me out of that trauma.
Right.
Um,
Scary. Wow.
yeah. And I, yeah, I attribute a lot of my, yeah, ability to like, that was the beginning. So 6 years ago, I didn't
Wow.
leave until just a couple months ago, but started planting seeds.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
left the Bay Area.
Mm.
We moved to a smaller mountain town where it was lower cost of living, and we downsized our home. We cut lots of expenses. We
Mhm.
saved and put a lot of money into savings so that I
Mhm.
could have other options. And so
Right.
that was planted years ago. And then I recently again did life coaching 7 years
Mhm.
later with a former boss and amazing human, Jessica Berg. I'm gonna shout her name to
Yes, for
everybody.
sure, for
She
sure.
really, yeah, helped me work on that kind of the other biggest trauma of my life, which was the stuff with my mother and my family.
Right,
And we just really allowed myself, I'm really good at being strong and resilient. I'm not
right.
as good at letting myself feel. And so I have
Mm.
thrown myself into work as a distraction the last
Yeah.
however many years and became a workaholic.
Mm.
And even with young kids, and I would be like, why am I doing this? I want to be with
Right.
my kids. They're only little for
Mm.
so long. And I just like was addicted to
Right.
working. And thankfully, like my husband and other people and my kids continued to
Mm.
wake me up every day. And so I sought help again. And I went to Jessica
Right.
and we did breath work. We regulated my nervous system. We did limiting beliefs. We did positive affirmations. We went into my trauma. We allowed myself to feel it and
Right.
heal. And that honestly, I've done therapy for like years. And that,
Right.
not that I'm like dismissing therapy, I think they're
Right.
definitely
Right.
very important as well. But 3 months of this sort of deeper inner work
Right.
and breath
Mhm.
work and actual, which is based on science. And a lot of us think it's
Yes.
woo, but it's
Oh,
actually like our body holds on to so much
yes.
more than our mind.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that changed this for me this time.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
wow, like I just listened to myself. I did a lot of journaling,
Right.
vision, meditation, and we did it with a group. And so that was also the
Um,
supportive aspect of it.
right.
And that, I don't know, it just led me to believe all these struggles, all these things that I've been through, my mother's struggle, I don't know, that I'm here for a different reason. And I am
Absolutely.
here and I I just feel called to help others and to use my strengths, my resilience to teach others how to have that strength and resilience, to go after their dreams, to just live life. That was my wake up call. You don't know what your time here
Right.
is. You don't know how much time you have. And that near death experience taught me to ask that question.
Yeah.
If I died tomorrow, will I be at peace with how I'm living my life today?
Right.
And that answer was no. So I'm on this spiritual journey. I'm signing up for yoga teacher training. I'm starting in the fall. I am launching this community and movement to help others make shifts, help
Right.
make societal shifts. And that's where the name comes from. A shift
Yes.
society it's not just like a community, it's about the shifts we want to see in ourselves
Right.
and others and in society more broadly, because I know I talk to so many people all the time, and they're burnt out, the screen addiction, the burnout, the
Yeah.
all of that, the anxiety, the loneliness, like it isn't good. And for my
Absolutely.
children and their future and my own future and how I show up in this world, that's the work I have to do here. And I don't,
And
yeah, yeah,
it's so good. It's so
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Everything about community. Yes. I
yeah.
just some messaged someone else about that earlier today. And that's where there was an attempt to isolate us, and we're meant to be connected and to
Hmm.
be together and support one another. Yeah. Because what came to me was, this is not a dress rehearsal. Life is
Yeah,
not a dress rehearsal. This is the final act the whole time we're here.
exactly.
Right.
Yes, yes. That's
Yeah.
what I feel like. That's what, I don't know, that wake up call in these last few months, I have just said, let's just stop pretending. Let's take our mask
Exactly.
off. What would that look
Look
like?
like.
What would that look like
Exactly.
is what I'm asking. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you were talking about, because I know we had talked before we started that I became a breathwork facilitator also, just like John.
Mhm.
And the book, The Body Keeps the Score,
Mm,
also documents that, because the issues are in the tissues. So
yeah.
I had also done all kinds of therapy and processing old trauma with Landmark Forum, became a life coach, and, still feeling something was off, and then became a breathwork detox facilitator and wondered, what is this? Like, there's so much here that is just hidden, and we hold it together. We as humans learn to just hold it together and keep going until we don't. And then once we open that floodgate where we can let go of those things and reprocess them and be free of them. Yeah, talk therapy takes you so far. Life coaching takes
Yeah.
you another direction, but then the physical part, you know,
Yes.
yeah,
It's
we
so
still,
powerful. I've been telling everyone I know, which is so funny because I think a lot of us learn, like even myself, coming from, I don't know, like a logical doing things like we think that's woo or we think that is out there, but actually it's scientific. It is like
yes,
there is no, yeah. And so I wonder, like, why do we not talk about this, and where did that stigma come
right.
from? It's actually so powerful. And so I'm hoping
Yeah,
also to really help people to see the
yeah.
power of breath work and other things that
Mm.
regulate your body and your nervous
Yes,
system. Yeah,
meditation and all of that. I mean,
exactly.
it's just the quantum healing, we were
Yes.
checking Joe Dispenza, the work he's done. They documented the Heart Math Institute. When you're talking about your
Mhm.
visioning of your life, and at 10, writing down what you envisioned, and at
Yeah.
21, it happening. Like, there are even studies. I would say it's Harvard or Stanford. One of them did a study on how many people actually achieved the things, those who wrote them down versus those who don't. And
Mhm.
once that's put out into the ethos and we've written it and committed, even though may not be consciously thinking about it, we've said that is something.
Mhm.
Writing, man, it's we're writing words, we're spelling, we're casting spells. We don't even realize that's why they call it spelling in school. We're writing things
Mhm.
out. So I'm even conscious of what I write. I'm even conscious of what I
That's
write
so
into my mouth.
interesting. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's
And so even
powerful.
when you feel the emotion of that thing happening, it's like time only exists on this dimension. But when we're out of this dimension, like, everything exists outside like in the quantum field. I know this is, but it's documented. And the
Mhm.
more we can visualize and feel that thing happening, our body, which is why athletes, they've done the studies where athletes sit and envision themselves going to the gym
Mm.
and they'll measure their muscle, like their muscle strength. Those who went to the gym, those who didn't go to the gym and just sat and thought about it, the growth is
Wow.
the same
Wow.
because our body doesn't know it doesn't know our mind doesn't know the difference
Right.
between something that's really happening or something that is imagined. Just like how we can get scared of something we watch on a movie, like it's not really happening, but we're like envisioning that this thing is happening. Yeah,
That's so
all of that.
powerful. It's
Right?
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like what you're being called to do and pulled to do, and even what I'm being called to do, encouraging people to break free and look at other options. You don't have to stay
Mhm.
in a corporate role if you're miserable or you're feeling
Mhm.
trapped. We're being called to do things that the world needs right now. So
Yes.
what you're creating, the world needs that. We need community. We need people who are knowledgeable, who've lived some life like you have. You've lived in different countries, you've lived in different places, and you've
Yes.
experienced so many different things. You're also a mom. Also, how many people don't have traumatic families and trauma in their families? We can think that we're isolated and it's just happening to us. And then you
Right.
realize, wow, like there's so much of this, and people just don't openly talk about it. Once you
Yes.
open that floodgate and share, then it creates a path for others to walk down.
Exactly. Yes. And that's what I've been trying to do. As hard as that is, I know that it's helping people in the messages that I receive in the your posts really resonate with me. And it's hard. If it was hard for me too. I don't want to see myself. I don't want to think about my feelings. It's easier to just keep going for some of us. I could keep working, I could keep
Absolutely.
going, and I could keep ignoring my body and my
Yeah,
feelings. But that stuff
absolutely.
shows up. It shows up in different
And
ways. It shows up
exactly.
in how we lead. It shows up in how we talk to others. It shows up in how we parent. It shows up, and people, we can say we're ignoring it, but the people that you love the most are feeling that.
Right. Absolutely. And the reality is it's happening obviously for men and women, you
Yes.
know, and men have been like conditioned to no, don't show your feelings. But it's like we're like an apex as a society
Mhm.
where we all have feelings. We all have things that we're processing that were experienced earlier in life that we're having to process now as grown-ups,
Yes.
and to be able to have
Yes.
space where it's a safe space to be able to do it, where other people are going to understand because they've already experienced their own version of whatever's being shared, and just having community is
Right. Yeah,
something
that's so
people need.
powerful. Like my husband and I talk about that just in terms of all of us are taught it's not good to show weakness. It's not good to be vulnerable. We need to be strong. Showing vulnerability is weak. And men, especially, are taught that messaging. But I talk about, fortunately, my husband is not like that. And we can
Yeah,
talk and
so
share
good.
feelings. And I'm raising my son to also, it's okay to feel
Right.
and it's okay to be strong. You can be both at the
Right.
same time. And I'm seeing a lot of communities also pop up for men on this topic. So I think it's
Right.
exciting to hopefully see these
Yes.
shifts that we need
Yeah,
to see
absolutely.
in
So,
society.
what words of encouragement would you have for someone who's out there doing something that they know they're meant for more, but they haven't taken the step, or they're maybe afraid to take a
Mhm.
step? What would you tell them?
I would say you just have to start. You have to face your fears. You have to name your fears. And if you can't do that on your own, which a lot of us cannot, and I was not able to, as I mentioned before, I think
Yeah.
life coaching, finding other people who've already been there to
Mhm.
guide you through that journey was the most powerful thing for me. And again,
Mhm.
that goes back to this, nobody does this alone. Go find people that inspire you. Go reach out to them. Don't be afraid. That's something I've done my entire life as well. I landed jobs all over the world. I
Mhm.
reached out to strangers. It doesn't matter who they are, how big they are. Even in my startup journey, leading growth at startups, I reached out to massive influencers. It doesn't matter, they're human and they
Right.
want to help. That's my advice. Just start. Don't be afraid. Go reach out for help. Find your tribe.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So great. And how are you keeping yourself motivated now and overcoming whatever fears may be going through your mind at different times? What are your words of advice also in that area?
I have a huge toolkit. Again, I meditate and I exercise every day. That makes me feel
Mhm.
strong and it gives me
Mhm.
mental strength and clarity. I have a huge tribe of supporters and people behind me that when I'm feeling lonely, when I'm feeling crazy, when I'm feeling, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because those feelings don't go away.
Right.
It's just about daily and then daily mantra is like this, reminding yourself of your purpose, writing it down. If you have to read it out
Right.
loud every single day, then do that. If you need
Mhm.
people to text you and support you every single day, ask for that. I think that's
Mhm.
another thing. I've never been great at asking for help. I have
Right.
learned to ask for help,
Yeah.
and that all of that fuels. And I think remembering your why is like
Mhm.
fuel, no matter what happens. And yeah, my son, it's so amazing how wise children can be, but
Yeah.
as I've been starting this journey, as I've been speaking more vulnerably, he said, Mom, but what if it just helps one person?
Oh,
An
wow.
8-year-old said this.
Wow. Wow.
And I literally every single day, I remember that every single day because
Absolutely.
that that's all why we're here, all of us.
Exactly.
If you are
Right.
helping one person, that is enough. And if you're helping your own self, a lot of this is my healing my own self as well.
Right.
And so
Right.
by helping others, yeah, I think that's really another huge, powerful mantra that has been in my mind. And
Absolutely.
everyone has their own, but if my son
Yes.
can help motivate others, and an 8-year-old has that wisdom, then I think we
Right.
all can have that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It actually made me think of went to Agape Spiritual Center recently. Michael Beckwith, who was in The Secret, the movie The Secret,
Oh
he
yeah.
started it 38 years ago. And it was his birthday service actually in July. And he said these things. He says these things repeatedly, but he'll say, the questions we ask ourselves, the universe looks for ways to answer it. And we in our brain will look for, so why is everything always working out for me? Why do I always have more money than I need? Why do great opportunities just seem to come my way? All those kinds of
Hmm.
questions rather than the opposite of, oh, what if, or why is this happening to me? No, why do and it could even be that it's like a contrast to what's maybe going on, but when you flip it and we flip it, and I say those things like, why is everything working out for me? Why do I always have more money than I need? And all those
Mm-hmm.
kinds of empowering statements,
Yes.
then
Love
that
that.
that things will happen. We have a reticular activating system, which you probably know about this, the RAS system in our brain. So it's, even if we're looking at buying a different car and we'll see a particular brand and we'll see that brand, we'll see that type of vehicle everywhere because it's like front and center
Mm.
in our brain. So if we have that, why is everything always working out for me? Why do I
Yeah.
always have the best luck? With
Yeah.
all those empowering
Yeah.
statements.
Totally shifting it from the negative to the
Right.
empowering.
Yeah. And that's an incredible piece of wisdom that your son would say at 8 years old. And
Yes. We call him the wise soul. He's always dropping
yes,
those. And that is also part of, I
truthful.
notice, is the ripple. When we lead
Right.
with our authenticity and love, I
Absolutely.
see it in my kids and I'm like, wow, when I'm showing up like this versus when I was stressed and never leaving my computer, and like then they're stressed and we model
Absolutely.
the behavior that we model. And yeah, that also keeps me going. I see the impact that I'm having on my kids, and he wants to start a kindness tree in the neighborhood,
Oh,
and
I
he
love
wants to
it.
write little notes, and we have the neighbors and we stick them on the tree. And this all started because of me starting this journey of I want to help others. You will
Gosh.
see that when you lead with who you are and
Wow.
your authenticity, it will ripple in every part of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. That is.
Yeah.
Any final words of advice you would like to share or say a bit more maybe about how people can get connected with the Shift community?
Yes. I just
Put it
want
in the show
everyone.
notes. Yeah, we'll put
Is
it in
that
the show notes.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just everything I've said. Just don't be afraid. Don't wait to live your life. It's here. It's here now. Don't wait until it's too late. And yeah, I'm here to listen, to help. You can check out Shift Society on Instagram at We Are Shift Society. You can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm excited to be on this journey and help others to find their way too.
More to come. More to
Yeah.
come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on another episode of And Then I Did This, celebrating the lives of those who've walked away from the beaten path to pursue work and a life that nourishes their soul. If you're feeling inspired and ready to explore your own path to freedom, check out youcanbefree.life, where you'll find resources and support to help you break free and live life on your own terms. See you next time.